Hello, everybody. We are getting ready for our talk in 6 minutes, all about nutrition, proper nutrition for proper exercise results. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. So I'll wait for you to get on. I'm going to call Rona. She likes me to call her. She doesn't have a computer, but she likes to listen in on the trainings. So I'm just going to give her a call. And hop on, let me know what your name is and where you're calling from. Please ask as many questions as you can, because that's how we learn, is by asking questions. And there's never a silly question, believe me, because if you have it, other people likely have it as well. Okay. Okay, I'll give Rona a call. We're ready in 5 minutes. Okay. 3 minutes. Okay. Great.
Hello.
Hey, Rona, you ready for today's call? We're going to be on in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited about today's call. This is going to be incredible. We're going to be talking a lot about how to feed yourself properly if you're looking at doing any kind of workout so that you get better results. And what I love about this training is that it's going to open up your mind to thinking differently about the foods that you're feeding yourself with when you are training in the gym. So, so often we think about just calories, or just getting enough calories in if we're going to work out, but really we have to think about other things other than that, because if you're wanting to get results like burning fat, building muscle, and having better recovery, we need to look at food differently. And so I'm going to share with you exactly what that looks like when it comes to exercise and nutrition. Yeah, so we're going to get started in 1 minute. Grab your beverages, stay hydrated.
put you on mute.
Sounds good, Rona. Okay, one more minute. We're going to get started. Okay, 2 o'clock. We're going to get started. Okay. All right, so everyone, I want to welcome you to another weekly live training session, and these are just deeper dives into the Slim, Strong, and Sexy program that I created just last spring, the 9-step plan to help you lose serious weight within 90 days so that you can keep it off for life. And this is all without starving or depriving or following any diets that are so restrictive, really, because we can have our wine and our chocolate and our bread as long as we do other things. And so this way you're not knuckle fisting your way to losing weight, but you're actually doing it in a way that is sustainable and fun. So today we're going to talk a lot about nutrition and exercise and how those that, really, if you do want to build muscle and burn fat, we do need to get into a good exercise plan, but you've got to feed yourself properly so that you can actually see the results and feel good when you're doing it. So that's what today's talk is. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, everyone that's hopping on, please let me know your name and where you're calling from. I'd love to know what the temperature is there. Here it feels like it's 40. I'm in Playa del Carmen, and it's really, really hot day today. All right, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So I did mention that this is a deeper dive into the Slim, Strong, Sexy Forever program that I created. And it is, again, designed to help you lose as much weight as you want within just 12 weeks. Look and feel definitely 10 years younger. And we don't need to, again, give up our favorite foods or wine. Because really, when you deprive yourself that much, how much fun is it losing weight? How much fun is it getting into shape? It's not really fun, is it? But we can actually do it in a really fun way where you can have some of your treats. As long as you choose the right ones and have them at the right time. So this way you will love getting into shape, and then you will keep it, you will stay in shape actually forever because it's a lifelong thing. We always start with the end in mind, the image that you want to create, like who do you want to be? And so it's really important to take a step back to, imagine how you would feel looking a certain way or feeling a certain way, but really we want to create this image in our mind because the body follows the mind. And so for me, when I created this program, it was designed for women. It's fine for men as well, but really I just wanted to hone in with the women. And I thought Wonder Woman was super powerful, and she's beauty, she's love, she's caring, she's everything. And so that was kind of the image that I put forth, but really it's what's your image? So it's really important to start with the end in mind and really think about what is that. And when you find it, put it front and center, put it on your fridge, put it in the bathroom, see it every day, because when you see it every day, that's who you will be, okay? Your version of that, of course. A little bit about me. I am a clinical nutritionist, so I've been in the trenches, which means I've seen, physically have seen people for almost 22 years, okay? My practice originally was in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. I had a practice there for 21 years, and I saw all sorts of individuals, and I helped them, get optimal. A lot of my clientele were looking to lose weight and keep it off for life, and so that's why I created the 9-step Slim, Strong, and Sexy Forever program, which is customized to the individual. But really, I wanted to help more people with a systematic approach. So that's a little bit about who I am. I really have helped tens of thousands of individuals, get off medication so that they were able to actually feel like themselves again. Because oftentimes when we're on this medication, we're not really feeling like ourselves, we're wondering who we really are. Because again, these medications, while they may be necessary at the time, they're not necessarily long-term. And so what they're doing is they're driving you in a direction that is artificial. So if we can optimize our health, then oftentimes we can get off these medications where, first of all, you'll save money. Second of all, you're going to feel like yourself again. And thirdly, you'll be able to feel free again from, this type of intervention. And so I've helped a lot of women actually get off their medications and get into their optimal health. The program that I have outlined is 9 clear steps. Today, we're going to really focus in on macros and micro timing as it relates to exercise. Okay, so we're going to really focus on what's the best way to eat and when is the best way to eat, so that we optimize the results from the exercise that we're doing. So that's what I'll be doing a deeper dive in. All right, so I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to go into the training. I'm going to see, so we got Larry on the line. Larry is saying hola from Iowa. I love that. Hi, Larry. Really good to see you. That's awesome. Glad you're here. And again, ask as many questions as you can, because when you ask them, other people learn as well. And this is your chance to get direct feedback and direct comments, okay? So I'm really glad you're on the line. That's really, really great. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into the training. So on the screen, I'm hoping that you see my logo, actually, Ask Michelle Diet and Detox. But really, let's get back into the topic, which is best nutrition for best exercise results. So I'm just going to make sure that you see that on the screen. Give me a minute. Okay, Larry, if you can let me know if you can see the slide, best nutrition for best exercise results, I would really appreciate that. Just let me know that's on the screen. Maybe it's not. Okay, I'll try again. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it would be on now. Just want to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, good, perfect. Okay, so here we go. Here's the training. So today, again, we're talking about best nutrition for best exercise results. And we're going to dive deep into not only just macronutrients, which are the protein, carbs, and fats that we keep hearing about, but actually the micronutrients, which are really important for function. And by the end of this talk, you're actually going to learn 3 things. The first one is how to eat to build muscle, how to eat to burn fat. You can do both. And how to improve energy delivery for optimal exercise and health outcomes. So this would mean things like recovery, okay? The second thing you're going to learn is the importance of micronutrients and how they play in exercise nutrition. Okay, so micronutrients are actually really important for proper cellular function, so that you can have, so that you can actually perform better in the gym and then outside the gym. And the third thing you're going to learn are best morning and evening routines to set the stage for your best ever day. Now, I want to start by having you get really clear, really clear. So here we are, we're exercising, but what do you really want to achieve from your exercise? Because you want to start with the end in mind. Like, why are you going to the gym? What is your actual outcome? For some people, it may be they need to recover from an injury and they need to do some rehab. Others, they actually want to, maybe get rid of some belly fat or some, and maybe sculpt some muscle. Maybe they want to go because it really helps them set the stage for a really powerful day, because it energizes them, it puts them in a good mood, and then they can have better days. But really, you want to think about what do you want from your exercise? I know for me, I go in because I actually feel good. I feel good when I train, and I feel good after I train. And so for me, it's a really feel good thing. Plus, it helps obviously with the physique, but really it makes me feel really good. So your exercise, whatever exercise you choose, just make sure that the exercise you're doing is something you like to do and something that makes you feel good, okay? Because there's different types of exercises. You just got to pick the right one for you. A little bit about my story. Why am I in this, the health and fitness world? Well, the reason is because I've been fit my entire life. So I'm somebody who has a lot of energy since birth. And so I just need to go. I need to move. And I found that exercise was kind of my happy place. It was my escape, I guess, from, the everyday life being, there's some challenges growing up, right? There's a lot of challenges, and I had quite a few. And I found that when I exercised, that it was put me in such a good space that it was just like almost like going to church for me. It was just like my happy place. And where things really turned around was when I was fit my whole life, but really wasn't feeding my body properly. Okay, I was fit, I was exercising, but I wasn't nourishing my body to match the exercise that I was doing. And what happened was, when I was early on in my youth, it was around age 30, I was diagnosed with a very severe accelerated aging disease, and it was called osteoporosis. So osteoporosis is brittle bones. So my bones were breaking down faster than they were building up. Well, that's not a good thing when you're young and you're a woman, and where they're supposed to be the strongest, they were the weakest. And so the medical system, as much as they want to help, their only answer was drugs, medication. And for me, that wasn't the answer. For me, it was, how did I get here to begin with? And so I actually started with it's got to be my diet. I need to start changing what I'm eating to be able to match the exercise I'm doing so I can build my bones. And so what I did was I started my journey into figuring out the answer to my question, what is the best diet to build my bones? What is the best diet to build my bones and stay lean and healthy for the rest of my life? Because I knew I'm someone who loved to move a lot, and I wanted to make sure I was able to continue this movement up into my 80s and even 90s. And so that started the journey into nutrition. And what I discovered was, after I did reverse my condition, osteoporosis, which I'm very grateful, my bones are super strong. I did it all natural, no medication, and I was very grateful for that. I figured out the answer to my question. And so what I discovered along the way was, so much talk about food is so much about calories. Calories in, calories out. If you're going to train, you need to have this many calories. If you want to lose weight, you need to have this many calories. Well, actually, I want you to look at food differently. And food, I want you to look at food like it's more than just calories. So what food really is food is nutrition. And did you know that your body requires over 60 different essential nutrients every single day to be healthy? In fact, your body requires 30 micronutrients, which are like things like zinc and selenium and trace minerals, okay? Along with 13 fat and water-soluble vitamins and minerals, 9 essential amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. So without enough of all these, we can't do certain things in our bodies. What does that mean? We can't recover as quickly. We don't have as much energy as we'd like. We would have a harder time losing weight. We'd have a harder time toning our bodies. Okay, so your body needs nutrition. Okay, and we're going to learn about what type of nutrition it needs, so that at the end of this, you're going to know exactly what to do, so that you can start to fuel your body properly and see better results from your exercise. So let's talk a little bit about these micronutrients, the one I alluded to, which would be things like zinc. Did you know that micronutrient deficiency, so not enough of these specific micronutrients, is the #1 most missed area directly that impairs your body's ability to be in balance? So you wonder why you don't feel right, why you're out of balance. Well, it's because you're not getting the right type of micronutrients. And if left undetected, so if you haven't figured out which ones, it actually does lead to disease. So I'm going to start with the first one, and the one that's super, super important when it comes to exercise, and why you want to make sure you're optimally having enough of this one micronutrient. That is zinc. Why am I talking about zinc? Because zinc is one of the nutrients that is really important for testosterone. So testosterone is a hormone that the body produces, and it's critical for bone formation. Okay, it's critical for proper body composition. It actually helps you build muscle and strength. Okay, it also super important for libido. Okay, for sexual function. Testosterone is also really, really important. Zinc is really, really important also to have proper digestion. We need enough zinc to be able to break down our foods. So if you're somebody who has gas and bloating, you can't eat very much protein, your bones are brittle, at the end of the day, you feel pregnant, you have stomach aches, well, likely you have low stomach acid. So you may want to think about what your zinc requirements are. And so that's something you really want to think about is zinc, okay? The other thing is it regulates the immune function. So anytime you work out, you're actually taking a hit to your immune system, okay? Because it's a stress to the body, all right? And so if we don't have enough zinc, it could actually dysregulate your immune system. And you wonder why when you work out, you get sick. It may be because you don't have enough zinc. Zinc is such an important micronutrient that most people forget. The other thing is if you find that you have a thyroid issue and although your TSH shows normal from your blood test, why do you still have all the symptoms of hypothyroidism? Well, you actually need zinc to be able to convert your inactive thyroid, which is T4, to the active thyroid, which is T3. So you may be making T4, but you're actually not converting it to T3. T3 is what your body actually uses to have proper metabolism, okay? So the other thing is if you find that you have a hard time tasting foods, the foods don't taste very good, or you don't have very good taste, well, it could be that you have low zinc, okay? Zinc is such a critical micronutrient that these are the signs and symptoms of low zinc that you may want to think about when it comes to exercise and other things. The other thing about zinc is if you find that you have blood sugar dysregulation, so you're hungry all the time. Like, why am I hungry all the time? I just ate, but I'm hungry 2 hours later. Well, it actually can be a sign of zinc deficiency as well, okay? Because low zinc actually leads to leptin resistance. So leptin resistance means that your hunger and satiety signal is broken. And so you want to maybe think about, maybe my zinc is low. I know for me, when I have my clients, I do a soft test for zinc, and I can actually see, according to the signs and symptoms, if my client actually does have low zinc. And so for this discovery, then what we do is we add the zinc in, and then everything starts to fall into place. So we've talked about zinc. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about carnitine. Okay, so carnitine is also a really important nutrient you want to think about when you're exercising. You want to make sure you have enough carnitine. You may have heard of the supplement acetyl-L-carnitine. That's an absorbable carnitine, okay? Why do we need to think about carnitine when it comes to exercise? Well, this is what's going to really help you burn the fat. So if you're somebody who goes to the gym and you can't seem to burn the fat, and maybe they have low carnitine levels, okay? And so what carnitine really does is it actually shuttles your fatty acids into your energy systems called the mitochondria to be used as energy so it actually burns your fat. And so you may want to think about adding in some acetyl-L-carnitine so that when you do train, you'll be able to see that you'll get leaner faster. It's also going to help with muscle recovery from exercise. So if you're somebody who exercises, but the next day you're sore and you have a hard time getting back in the gym, it may be that you have low carnitine levels. And so you may want to think about adding some carnitine into your supplement program. It also offsets muscle damage. So that would be correlated to muscle recovery. So if you're not recovering quickly, you're breaking down more than you're building up, right? And so this will actually offset this, along with a few other supplements like CoQ10. But really, you want to think about carnitine. So a deficiency can lead to muscle weakness and fatigue. You'll be tired, right? So there are a number of supplements that are recommended when it comes to optimizing your nutrition when you're in the gym. But really, I just talked about two really important ones, which is zinc and carnitine at this point. Anyone here is interested in more information on how to optimize their supplement program while they're in the gym, then please get a hold of me and I'd be happy to do some data collection, find out where your weaknesses are, and then create a supplement program that is designed specifically for you so that you can get more results. Before I get into the actual diet, we talked about supplements. Before I get into the actual diet, I'm actually going to stop this share And I'm going to see right now if there's any questions about some of these micronutrients that I brought forth. Okay, we've got a lot of people on the line. This is great. Okay, so Larry is letting me know that he couldn't see the screen, but now he can. That's great. So here we have someone who's watching from, hi, I'm from Indiana. Oh, Indiana. Hello, Indiana. I'd love to know what the temperature is there and your name, actually. Thanks for sharing. And so we've got another person on the line, and it's Tiger. So I don't know if I pronounced that properly, but I'd love to know, Tiger. But anyways, I'm so glad you're on the line, and that's great. Feel free to ask a lot of questions because this is how we learn, right? And we've got Tamara. Hey, Tamara, so great to have you on the line. This is great. Larry, so someone here is maybe thinking they may have low zinc. Yeah. And you know, it's really important to actually take zinc in the evening as well. So it's not only just the amount, it's actually when you take it. And so whoever here is interested in learning more about a customized supplement plan that's designed for them, then again, please get a hold of me. I'm just giving you some really important pointers today to get you thinking in maybe a different direction, and then adding more questions after that. Okay, so awesome. That's great. So I'm going to go back to the training, and we're going to talk a lot about diet now, okay? All right, so let's talk diet. I'm looking to make sure that you guys can see this on the screen. I'm sure you can. Very sure. I think I got it right. Yeah, so let's talk diet. Now, if we're going to talk diet, let's talk a little bit about the type of diet that's actually going to help you build muscle and burn fat. Because oftentimes that's one of the major reasons why people actually train in the gym or exercise is because they actually want to get toned and they want to get rid of some belly fat, right? Or even some COVID fat, or maybe even some pregnancy weight, right? And so what we want to do is we're going to go to the experts and we're going to learn from them, all right? And one of the experts, the leading experts when it comes to eating properly to build muscle and burn fat is he's Professor Stu Phillips, okay? He is a professor in the School of Medicine in McMaster University. He's a fellow of the American College of Sport Medicine, and in the American College of Nutrition. So I am a personal trainer. I haven't practiced in a while, but really I did study under the American College of Sport Medicine, and he was one of the experts that we followed. So anyways, he's done a lot of research. And he's very well respected. His research focused on the impact of nutrition and exercise on human skeletal muscle protein turnover. This means, building more muscle, right? And bone. And also body composition changes, okay, in a positive direction. And so learning from him, let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the amount of protein and the types of protein, let's actually talk about what it actually is protein. Because oftentimes clients come to me and they're not really even sure where to get their protein, what protein really is. Well, let's define it right now. So protein actually breaks down in the body as amino acids. So there are 9 essential amino acids that the body needs to build. Okay, if you're missing one, you're not building properly. Okay, so there's 9 that are essential. And these are what builds your structure, what builds your tissues, what builds your hair, what builds the collagen, what builds your joints, what is the building blocks of your enzymes so that you can have proper energy and function, so you feel well. It's also really important for antibody production. So somebody here who's immune compromised really needs to pay attention to getting their 9 essential amino acids, okay? So they can be well balanced. So let's look at what is recommended for the amounts. Okay, so the government is recommending the daily allowance, okay, for protein. Their recommendation across the board is 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. So for example, if you're 120 pounds, that would be about 43 grams of protein per day. If you're 120 pounds, that's about 43 grams of protein per day, okay? Well, Professor Stu Phillips says that is absolutely not sufficient at all, okay? He is adamant about having more than that, and here's what his recommendations are. Quite a lot more. So basically, it would be 1 gram per pound of body weight. 1 gram. Okay. RDA is 0.36. So Stu is recommending almost 3 times that amount. Okay. It's going to depend on your age and your exercise, which we'll get into, but really on average, you want to make sure that you're having 1 gram per pound of body weight. All right. So that's quite a difference. Now, let's look at customizing this to the individual. So if you're somebody who does train in the gym, or you do some form of exercise like cycling, which really has a lot of, really relies on heavy leg workouts versus light body, whole body, you're going to want to make sure that you're adding more protein into your daily diet the days that you do heavy leg workouts. So more than 1 gram per pound of body weight, okay? In addition to that, if you are a teenager or if you're a growing child, or if you are over the age of 50, actually over the age of 65, sorry, an elderly, advanced age, you are going to want to add more protein to that, all right? And in addition to that, if you have an illness, okay, if you have an illness, if you are in the hospital, you're also going to want to make sure that you are adding more protein into your daily diet, because you need it to rebuild the body. Again, immune system, muscle, all these things we talked about, okay? So let's talk a little bit about why do we need this amount? Why isn't 0.36 enough? Why is 1 gram more important? Well, the reason is because if you are going to do your exercise, which the ones that are watching here are the ones that are exercising, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this, you're going to want to increase your protein based on the exercise requirements. And so it's going to help you. Remember, when you're exercising, you're breaking your body down. You're catabolic. When you're osteoporosis, you're catabolic. To build the body up, you need to be anabolic. And to be anabolic, you need to have protein. Okay. Not only that, if you're at advanced age, you're over 65, or if you have critical illness, or if you are in the hospital, or if you have an injury, it's going to actually help to preserve the muscle while you're recovering, preserve the muscle as you age. Okay, because you need these 9 essential amino acids. It's also going to stimulate a hormone called glucagon, which is going to promote fat loss. So yes, you can build muscle and burn fat because you're stimulating a hormone called glucagon, which burns fat, okay? When you do this, when you add more protein and you build more muscle, you are boosting your metabolism, because the body actually requires more food to be able to fuel the muscle that you've built. So that means you can eat more food and lose more weight. This is the whole program that I've designed, is we can eat more to lose more, all right? But we got to eat the right kinds of foods. What is it? Protein. The other thing about this is if you find that you have blood sugar dysregulation, you're hungry all the time, okay? We need to get the protein in to be able to feel satiated. So it makes you feel full longer, so that the body can learn, oh, I don't have to eat every 2 hours. Okay, well, I'm going to retrain my body to be able to eat every 4 to 5 hours, which is what our goal would be. Okay. And so it's going to keep you away from the fridge all day into doing things that you want to do, like maybe a hobby, maybe your work, maybe you're studying, maybe you're working, and you don't want to be thinking about food all day. Well, then we want to think about eating enough protein. And guess what? The last one is something that most people forget. We need enough protein to detoxify. Why do we need to detoxify? Well, first of all, we are bombarded with so many toxins, and it's the toxicity in our environment is rising all the time. Okay, the amount of chemicals they're spraying in the air, the amount of medication that we're on, the amount of heavy metals that's in the soil, that's in the water, the body care that we put in our skin. A lot of times these products are actually not even regulated properly, and so they're putting things in there that you don't even know that are in there. And so you really want to make sure that what you're eating and you're putting on your skin is super, super clean. So keep it really, really simple. Think about things that are like grown in the environment. And when you put things on your skin, you actually want to think about, can I eat that? Because really your body is eating it if you're putting it on your skin, because your body's going to absorb it. So take a really close look at your what you're putting in your body and on your body. And so we know that we're bombarded with all these toxins. But our body is so wise. It is so smart. It is such a healing machine that, you know what? It's got an ability to get rid of these toxins. It has filters, okay? Just like in a car, it's got those filters to get rid of what it needs to get rid of. I don't know a lot about cars, but really we have our own filter, and that is our liver. So our liver is the main organ of detoxification. It filters out all the fat soluble toxins. So all this herbicides, pesticides, all these bad fats, the liver removes it from the body, out the stool. But in order for the liver to work properly, to remove these toxins so that you stay well and you get lean and you feel amazing, is you need to get that protein, okay? The protein is required to be able to flush away these toxins that the body is exposed to. And we're forgetting about this. So for example, there are actually 3 phases to detoxification. And phase 1 is when the body gets when the cells get activated that there is a toxin in the body, it gets alerted. That's phase 1. But in order for the body to have this ability to let the rest of the cells know that there's a toxin in there, it actually needs certain required nutrients to be able to do that. Otherwise, your body doesn't get alerted that there's a toxin, and then things fall off the rail right at the start. And then you are plugged up with toxins, and you wonder why you're tired, why you can't lose weight, why you can't think properly, and why you are riddled with why you can't sleep. Okay, this is one of the biggest issues why we can't sleep, is because our body is trying to get rid of these toxins, and it's doing it overnight, and it's keeping you up. And so we've got phase 1. Phase 1 doesn't really require much in the way of protein or amino acids, but guess what? Phase 2 does. Phase 2 is amino acid dependent. And in particular, L-glutamine, L-lysine, glycine, L-carnitine that we talked about, and L-taurine, okay? These you must have in the body to be able to move to phase 2 detox. What is phase 2 detox? Phase 2 detox happens actually in the liver, okay? So here, phase 1, if that's working properly, again, the cells get activated. It lets all the rest of the cells know that there's a toxin and to start to remove it. And then what happens is the toxin gets placed into the liver, which then converts the fat soluble toxin into a water soluble toxin to then be able to move to phase 3. Okay, but if we can't convert the fat soluble to the water soluble to remove it from the body, then it stays in the body and it stays in the liver. What is that? Fatty liver. And it's also where, oh, I can't lose weight. Oh, I can't manage my blood sugar. Okay, my hormones are off. It's because of phase 2 block. The other thing is this is breast cancer. We know phase 2, if it's blocked, it does lead to breast cancer. So again, we need to be very mindful of getting these 9 essential amino acids to be able to allow the liver to be able to convert phase 2 to phase 3, okay? I can't stress that enough. And then we move to phase 3, which is water soluble, removes from the urine, okay? But the biggest takeaway here is we need the amino acids to detoxify, all right? Let me see if I'm going to get into phase 3. Here we go. Yeah, I'll go into the next slide here. So in addition to this, we talked about detoxification, we talked about muscle building, fat loss, immunity, but actually let's talk a little bit more about immunity, especially when it comes to things like all these variants that we're being feared into, okay? Well, we can actually empower our body's immune system by eating enough protein, okay? Because the diet does influence the immune function, and a large part of it does have to do with protein, okay? And so we know that we need to be mindful of this as well, okay? And this is just a paper that was in the Townsend letter for doctors and patients, February, March 2002, and they clearly indicated that a deficiency of dietary protein is well known to suppress the immune function. Okay, so I'm going to stop this and I'm going to, oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to go into the next one. This is really, really important. I love this slide. So yes, we need enough protein, but did you know that protein is dose dependent? What I mean by that is we need to have protein every single meal. Okay. When I talk about the 1 gram per pound of body weight, we don't want to have it all at one sitting. Okay. We want to be able to have it spread out throughout our 2 or 3 or 4 meals for the day, maybe 1 meal. But really, and the reason for that is because when you eat your protein, this is what the studies show, when you eat protein, it's going to allow your body to build muscle, burn fat, and do all the things we talked about for about 5 hours. And what happens is our bodies start to, there starts to become muscle protein breakdown after about 5 hours. So that means that you want to make sure that your next meal, again, is protein rich, so that we don't get into a muscle breakdown situation. We get into muscle protein synthesis, which is a buildup of muscle. We want more muscle and less fat. And so it is dose dependent, okay? Let's talk a little bit about some protein sources. You may be wondering, okay, so Michelle, we know that the studies are showing that we need to have 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. We know we need it for muscle building, for fat loss, for immunity, for building the bones, for having energy. But you know, what are the best protein sources? You may be wondering that. Well, I'm going to share with you right now. So this is exactly one of the cheat sheets that I give to my one-on-one clients, because what it is when clients come to me, I have to make it simple because they're overwhelmed. And so what I do is I offer them these quick little cheat sheets. These are the best protein sources. So I'm going to share with you right now what I provide to my clients. Okay. And so when it comes to best protein sources, we're going to want to think about, I'd say the number one as far as the quality and the best bang for your buck would actually be organ meats like liver, kidney, heart, and wild seafood, okay, and fish eggs. Why we say that is because they are low toxicity, high in minerals, high in micronutrients, and you need actually less of those proteins to be able to have yield a better protein result into the body. So what I mean by that is they're high quality protein sources. And so that would be the top of the ladder. But from that, then we're going to want to look at below that, if we look at like the pyramid, below that would be things like grass finished meats or wild meats. So not factory farmed. We actually really need to get away from factory farmed meats because they are not a high quality. They will be protein requirements. They will give the body the amino acids that you're looking for. But if we look at the whole package, they have certain types of fats in them, the factory farms, that are more omega-6 than omega-3. So they're more inflammatory than they are anti-inflammatory. So yeah, you can get the 9 essential amino acids, but why not pick superior forms of protein to then be able to get the fats that are anti-inflammatory to keep your body from aging quickly, right? And healing quickly, so that you recover fast, so that you can get back into the gym and do another great workout and build more muscle. So we're going to want to think about grass finished meats or wild game. Okay. And then further down the line, I would say eggs would be the next one. And when you're looking at eggs, I've mentioned before, we don't want to just get factory farmed eggs. They are actually, again, yes, you'll get the 9 essential amino acids, but you're also getting more omega-6, which are inflammatory, and less omega-3, which are anti-inflammatory. Those are the fats that are combined with the protein in something like eggs. So then you're going to want to think about, I want to get pastured eggs, chickens that are roaming around outside in their natural environment, and you're having the product from them. Those are the eggs that you're going to want to think about having. Okay. And dairy. So dairy can be really nutritious, actually, for some individuals. It would be contraindicated for those with autoimmune, okay, or those that have an ancestry who have not consumed dairy in their lineage. But if you have, like me, I'm Russian, we've had dairy for centuries. And so dairy is actually a good food for me. I don't have autoimmune, and I have history. My ancestry is, we were dairy farmers. And so I do very well with dairy, okay? And so, but you may or may not. You would have to find someone to help you navigate that, or do trial and error, something like that. But anyways, if we're looking at dairy, again, it will give you the essential amino acids, but at the same time, make sure you get the quality. We're looking at organic. It's because if we don't have organic, we're putting in chemicals. And what does that do? Plug up our liver, right? We don't want to do that. So you want to think about organic, plain, non-homogenized yogurt, full fat. So things like Jerseyland organics or anything from a sheep or a cow or a bison, a good yogurt that way. When you're choosing your cheese, make sure it's from raw milk cheese, and it will say that on the label. Okay, and so protein powders. Here's another one. There's so many yucky protein powders that they're full of chemicals and artificial sweeteners. We don't need that in our bodies. And in fact, if you're choosing a protein powder with artificial sweeteners, you're actually telling your brain that it needs more sweet. And then you wonder why you're hooked on sugar all the time. It's because these artificial sweeteners are making you want more sugar, believe it or not. It's funny that way. So you want to think about protein powders sweetened with things like stevia, or even unsweetened would be fine too. And then nuts and seeds. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into carbohydrates, I actually shared a lot with you. I'm going to open up the lines to see if there's any questions right now before I get into the carbohydrates. So somebody's thinking, oh my gosh, that's 220 grams a day for me. Yeah, we can dive deeper into that. So it depends on, how much fat are you carrying? Because really, I like to use it as 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, because we know definitively that 1 gram is needed to maintain the lean body mass. Okay, we don't want to fuel the fat; we want to fuel the muscle. And so, lean body mass will tell you how much muscle and bone mass you have, and so you want to make sure you're equalizing that with the amount of protein. So you may have a lot of body fat on your body. I don't know what your body composition is, but I know if we were to work together, I would definitely, shortcut your way to learning exactly how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats. But I'm getting you thinking in the right direction for sure. Oh yeah, I love quinoa. So quinoa is a really good actual plant-based protein. Doesn't have all the 9 essential amino acids. You'd have to combine it with other things so that would be a whole grain. It's actually a wild seed. So you'd want to combine whole grains or this sort of thing with beans, properly soaked or sprouted beans, with a handful of sprouts and a tablespoon of seeds. And if you do that, you can get the 9 essential amino acids in a way that is all plant-based. So yeah, but remember with the quinoa, I think you were the one that did the experiment to soak it. Can you remind me of that, Tamara? Were you the one that I advised to make sure you soak it and reply back to me after you soaked it, your experience and how you felt consuming the quinoa after you did properly soak it? Was that you? I'd love to know. So we have someone who would need to schedule a meeting with me. Yeah, I know. Because why would you want to guess? This is your health. And if you've got someone who's been doing this actually recovered their own health and been doing it for 21 years, we've done all the mistakes. And so I'd be happy to schedule an appointment. So what I'd like you to do for this person is send me a direct message through Messenger, through the Facebook, and let me know, we'll get the conversation started so that I can help you reach actually your health goal, which is what this is all about. So I want you to think about what your health goal is within the next 90 days, what you want to accomplish, because we have to think of the end in mind, and then we get there. This is how we do it, okay? And we do it systematically. And a lot of it has to do with, we got to get enough protein in for your body to get your results, okay? So yeah, make sure you message me. And makes more sense. Good. Okay, awesome, Tamara. I'd love for you to actually share your experience with the rest of the community before you soaked your quinoa, the experiment, how that felt, and then after you started soaking the quinoa and how it tasted and how it felt in your body. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. Any other questions before I get into carbohydrates? No more questions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and we're going to talk all about carbohydrates. All right, so let's talk carbohydrates. Well, let's talk about what are carbohydrates. You've heard the term good carbs, bad carbs. Well, what is a carb? So carbs are plants, all right? They're not animal products, they are plants. So we need plants. And there are good carbs and bad carbs for sure, but we actually do need carbohydrates. And so what are carbs? Well, carbs would be sugars, carbs would be starches, carbs would be fibers. And what are they? They're found in fruits, they're found in grains, they're found in vegetables, and they're found in some milk products. Not all, but some. So when we talk about carbohydrates, why do we even need them? Well, you definitely need them because it's going to help you with bowel movements. So we know that we talked about carbohydrates having fiber. So fiber is so important to do a couple things. First of all, soak up the toxins and remove it from the body so that you can feel clean and lean. All right. Second of all, it actually helps to provide a nice bowel movement so that you can eliminate the toxicity from the body, but also feel light. Your belly will feel flat. You will feel, your brain will turn on because you're not sitting there with all this food that hasn't been digested and it's just sitting there in your bowels. It actually is going to help to make you feel clean and lean, okay? The other thing that carbohydrates do is they actually help to, they're food for your good gut bugs. You've heard about microbiome, you've heard about probiotics, you've heard about good bacteria. Well, we need to take care of our good bacteria. We need to feed our good bacteria so we can grow these good bacteria, so that we can improve the diversity of these bacteria, because they each have their, what the good bacteria do is, my gosh, they do so many things. They actually help break down your foods. And so that you can use the energy from the food and eliminate what your body doesn't need. They also help you make vitamins, things like B12, all right, is really important. They also help you stay lean. And so when you feed the good bacteria, you're increasing a species that is found in lean people, okay? And if you don't feed your body properly, then you're going to increase the species that are found in overweight people. And so you want to make sure that you're feeding the body the right type of carbs to increase the good bacteria to then be lean, to then have good bowel movements, to then be able to absorb the vitamins and minerals from your food and make you feel clean and lean. So, so important, okay? Disease prevention, absolutely. These are where the micronutrients come in, okay? We talked about zinc, for example. Actually, zinc is found in oysters. And I'm trying to think of other forms of good foods that have zinc. I know oysters are really, really high in zinc. I have to think about that. And disease prevention, yeah. So when we think about plants, when we think about vegetables and all colored fruits, well, they have phytonutrients in them. And these phytonutrients help our bodies stop aging, okay? It actually can prevent aging because it's taking away the free radical damage that happens when your body is working all day. When you're working all day, you are creating oxidative stress. And when you're eating, when you color your plate with all these different colorful fruits and vegetables, you are actually eating vitamins and minerals. You really are. And it's going to quench the free radical damage in the form of antioxidants. And so that you are reversing aging or stopping aging or slowing the aging process down. Okay, so you're less tissue destruction is another way to put it. The other thing carbohydrates do is they are so important for you to be able to have long-standing energy throughout the day, okay? And for you to have long-standing energy throughout the day, you need to be able to store your sugar in your body. In case you haven't eaten for a while, then the body will release the stored sugar to be able to get you through until your next meal. Now, it stores the sugar in the form of glycogen. Glycogen is stored in your liver and your muscles primarily. And so that's why it's also important to make sure your liver is working well, because then you're actually going to be able to have more glycogen reserves so that when you are, you can't eat, maybe you miss a meal, you're not going to bonk, you're not going to hit the wall. The body has stored sugar, it will release it when it's not eating, and then you won't really even feel like you're that hungry. It's just going to be a nice steady release of energy until you can eat. This is going to give you high performance throughout the day, all right? And you can move your meals, remember, 4 to 5 hours between each meal. So we're going to think about, well, okay, so we know carbohydrates are good. We know what they're for, but what about how much? Because we can over carbohydrate. And this is where we run into being overweight. This is where we run into diabetes type 1, diabetes type 2. This is where we run into non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is when we run into cancer, these sorts of things. So we actually need to be mindful of how much we need. Well, to do that, we're going to look at an expert. And the expert that I'm going to share with you is Mark Sisson. Why am I sharing with you Mark Sisson? Well, Mark Sisson is one of the leading experts when it comes to carbohydrates and exercise nutrition, okay? So he is an Ironman world champion, finished 4th. He has a podcast, Primal Nutrition. He has a line of food products in the grocery stores called Primal Kitchen. I definitely highly recommend you write that down, Primal Kitchen. So if you like mayonnaise, get the Primal Mayo. It's like the best. You can get one with spicy, one without. I get his salad dressings. So what I love about him is the ingredients he places into his products are very, very clean. They are organic most times, and they're simple, okay? And they're nutritious. And so they're going to replace all the other condiments that we see that are not nutritious, all right? So I want you to look for his products in the grocery store, really, really clean. So we're going to look to him to ask him, you know, how many carbs do we really need, okay, to stay lean and fit? Like this guy is super fit, right? And he's really healthy. Well, it's going to depend on your goal. That's how many carbs you need. The amount of carbs you need depend on your goal. Now, if you are somebody who is 20 or more pounds overweight and you actually want to drop the weight really quickly and then start to do some maintenance, then I highly recommend you look to have 0 to 50 grams of protein per day. 0 to 50 grams of protein for the entire day, okay? And so this would be something like a carnivore type diet, or you could eat mainly animal-based proteins and a little bit of vegetables like green vegetables. But we can really, when you work with a nutritionist like me, this would be easy for me to create a meal plan for you where it's like taking all the guesswork out. Here's your meal plan for the week. Go with this and take you to the grocery store. It saves you so much time and effort and struggle, okay? So, but really, those that are 20 or more pounds overweight, you're going to want to keep your carbohydrates really quite low just to start. Really recommended for those with diabetes because you can reverse diabetes type 2 very, very easily, or those that are severely obese. It's going to jumpstart your metabolism. It's going to jumpstart your weight loss or break a weight loss or like a weight plateau that you have. Okay, so if you maybe don't want to go that low, and maybe you don't want to, you don't feel like you need to lose that amount of weight really quickly, and you actually really like to have carbs, like you love grains, maybe you love to eat a lot of carbs. That's okay. You can still eat more carbs. You just know that the weight loss will be a little more gradual. So what? It's your life. And maybe this is what you want to do. All right. But you're going to want to think about 50 to 100 grams of carbs per day. If you're someone who wants to take a little bit more time losing weight. All right. So this is kind of the sweet spot, I really believe, for those that just want to take a little bit more time losing weight. And it will happen, but it will just take a little bit more time. But again, if you're someone who there's a wedding coming up, maybe there's a grad reunion coming up, maybe you're getting ready for an operation and they need you to lose weight really quickly. Maybe you're an actor or an actress, you need to be on screen. Maybe you're a realtor and you're really tired of looking overweight and you just want to like balls to the walls, go for it, then you would, do the 0 to 50. But if you want to take a little bit more time, 50 to 100 grams per day, no worries. And then we go to the next category. So the maintenance. So 100 to 150 grams per day. This would be like maintenance. So you've reached your weight loss goal and now you just want to maintain. Well, this would be the maintain. This would be the maintain category. And then those that above and beyond that, well, the weight's going to start to creep up. Why? Because it's more sugar to the body than the body needs, and the body will store sugar as fat, and that's why you get fat. As simple as that. And so you also age very quickly as well. Okay, the body doesn't require that many carbs, and you are going against what the body really needs. Okay, and so the 150 to 300 grams per day is going to put weight on. Okay, it's going to creep up. Okay, unless you are an extreme elite athlete, obviously we're going to want to do that amount of grams per day because you need those extra calories. Other than that, it's going to show up on your waistline. All right. Hey, let's talk about the best carb sources. We talked about what carbs are for and why we need them, the amounts. Now let's talk about the best carb sources. Well, let's have a look at that. Let's look at the best choices. Those would be the non-starchy, fibrous vegetables. These are the ones ideally that is in season in your environment. So what is growing in your environment? If it's summertime right now, you're going to probably eat what's grown in your environment now, which will be quite a lot of different plant sources. So you're going to want to think about that. Then next in line would be the starchy vegetables. So starchy vegetables have a little bit more sugar or more carbs in them. So you would have some, but just eat less. And these would be, again, whatever's in season. So the starchy vegetables, things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, parsnips, carrots, winter squash. Those would be more starchy vegetables. And you're going to want to maybe have a little bit less of those and more of the non-starchy fibrous vegetables. Other sources would be non-gluten grains. Again, soaked or sprouted, like we talked about Tamara. Tamara was having quinoa without soaking or sprouting. She started to soak and sprout them. She's going to give her experience. But really, we can have these grains, no problem at all. Just make sure that they're soaked or sprouted. You're going to want to avoid these if you have autoimmune disease. All right. But if you don't, then we can include some of these into your daily diet. We have other types of carbohydrates like gluten grains. These would be soaked or sprouted again. And if you're otherwise healthy, if you're healthy, gluten grains, no problem at all. Gluten is not the enemy. No, if you have a good digestive tract, a little bit of gluten is actually fine. Too much gluten may not be fine because it actually opens up the enterocytes in the gut lining. And then what happens is these protein molecules that aren't breaking down enter the bloodstream, and it can cause inflammation in the body, all right, which leads to autoimmune. So yeah, we can have some gluten grains, no problem at all. Just don't have too many, all right? And it depends on the person. Again, this is why you want to see someone like a nutritionist who can evaluate where you are, where you want to go, and then what the best diet is for you. So we've got the gluten grains. Beans and legumes, absolutely healthy plant carbohydrate. Again, you want them soaked or sprouted. You want to avoid them with autoimmune or digestive issues like Crohn's, colitis, IBS, persistent diarrhea, constant constipation, these sorts of things. But other than that, I think that they're great. They actually really help with, think of kidney beans. They're actually good for the kidneys. It's called a signature of doctrine. So it looks like a kidney, so it's good for your kidneys. Well, kidney beans are actually shown to be good for the kidneys. So if you want to improve your kidneys, maybe have some kidney beans, but you want them soaked or sprouted, all right? Really high in fiber, so it's going to allow for a good bowel movement. Just make sure they're properly soaked or sprouted. They are a good carbohydrate. They're full of good antioxidants as well. Fruit. So we know that fruit is also a good choice. I would limit the fruit, but I would have fruit once a day, but ideally eat what's in season. Again, this is what I give to my clients. So it's like I take all the guesswork out. Here's your cheat sheet for best carbohydrates. And so I keep the guesswork out. When it comes to a few additional health tips with the carbohydrate piece, when it comes to fruit, we don't want to be eating fruit all day. It is sugar to the body. A little bit of fruit or once a day, no problem at all. I want you to think seasonal. So right now it's summertime, we can have the fruit. Wintertime, I would guard against the fruit. because fruit isn't grown in the wintertime. All right. So when it comes to starchy carbs, sure, have the starchy carbs, which is the below the ground vegetables or the grains, but they're better to be left for your evening meal to be able to have a good sleep, because it's a slow release of sugar overnight so you can sleep all the way through. So before I get into fats, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to see if there's any questions when it comes to carbohydrates. So here we have Tamara replying back. The quinoa cooked quickly and was more tender, very tasty, and I'm sure it's probably digested more easily. Well done. Thank you so much for reporting back. And yes, if the quinoa is not properly soaked, it actually has a component in there called saponins, and saponins is a gut irritant. So when you soak them, you remove the gut irritant, you get more nutrition from the quinoa, like the amino acids and all the fiber, and then you're getting more nutrition, well, from your foods. And it will cook way less, like maybe 4 minutes instead of like 8, half the time. Any other questions when it comes to carbohydrates? If not, I'm going to go into fats. No questions on carbohydrates, that's no problem at all. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the fats. Okay, so let's talk about fat. So let's talk about what is fat. What is dietary fat? Not body fat. What is dietary fat? Well, dietary fat is a combination of fatty acids and glycerol, all right? And they come in saturated, monounsaturated, or polyunsaturated fats. There's different types of fats. And we need to think about, why do we require fats? Well, one of the reasons is because it keeps the inflammation down. And so if your body's always inflaming, it actually it thinks that it has an infection. And so the energy goes to try and fight the infection, not to give you energy for the day. So we want to counteract that by having fats that put out the inflammation so that you do have energy for the day. And it's also going to help to alleviate pain. Okay. It's going to actually support the brain and the nervous system. It's really important for cell membrane integrity. And so you want to make sure that your cell membranes, which is like the covering of your cells, you want to make sure that they are pliable and they're not sticky and they're not rigid, okay, to allow for proper nutrient exchange, proper nutrients in, proper nutrients out, so everything works properly. We also need fats to stabilize blood sugar. Okay. And when we stabilize blood sugar, this is going to really lead to an easy way to lose fat. It's also going to allow you to have a happy mood. Reason for that is because who feels hangry? That's not a happy mood. You're hangry because you're hungry. And dietary fat is going to keep you from being hungry all the time. Dietary fat is really important for healthy hormone balance. So it is the building blocks for your hormones. Okay. It aids in the delivery of fat-soluble vitamins from your vegetables. And so you do have fat-soluble vitamins in veggies, but you need to have the fat with the vegetables to be able to absorb the fat from the vegetables. And it actually increases your whole body thermogenesis, so you're going to actually feel warmer when you have fat. And it adds delicious flavor to your meal. So if you're somebody who doesn't really find their foods very flavorful, then it's the fats that actually provide the flavor with the spices to add so that you can enjoy your meals better. Things like olive oil, bone broth, but we'll get into the types. And now we go to, well, okay, so we know that we need fat. Well, how much fat do we need? Let's look to expert Dr. McCullough. So Dr. Joseph McCullough is an osteopathic physician. Okay, he's one of the top leading experts when it comes to health and nutrition. And so he's the one that we go to ask the question, how much fat do we need? Okay. Well, again, it depends on your goal. So this is, again, when you see a nutritionist or a health expert, we always start with the end in mind. What is your goal? And so let's talk about fat when it relates to goals. In general, when it comes to fat loss, if that's your goal, then you want to begin with 1 tablespoon per meal. Okay, so you can start with that. If you want to reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, okay, Then we're going to start with a little bit less fat because the liver is fatty. It can't handle that amount of fat. So we're going to have just a little bit of fat till the liver starts to clean out. Then we can start to add more fat. All right. So this would kind of fly in the face of these ketogenic diets. When you have fatty liver disease, they are so contraindicated. All right. So again, it depends on the person. The diet needs to fit the person. This is why customized nutrition is so critical. So that you can stop spinning your wheels and start getting your results so quickly and have the peace of mind doing it. So when it comes to maintenance, after you're, good, healthy, you're health and well, and then you can do 2 or 3 tablespoons per meal, which is pretty much what I do. Let's talk a little bit about best fat sources, shall we? Again, this is the cheat sheet that I provide for my clients. Again, I get rid of the guesswork, and here it is. Best choices for the saturated and monounsaturated. Butter, best from grass-fed cows. So we get ours from Costco, and it's, I can't remember the name of it, but it's from grass-fed cows. Yeah. Ghee is good. Lard from the farm would be really good. Coconut oil, bacon drippings, extra virgin olive oil. Make sure there's no canola oil in your extra virgin olive oil. Oftentimes they're spliced with that. That's why they're cheap. Palm oil and macadamia oil. Okay. Yes. Polyunsaturated. So you want to really reduce these. You don't want to have much of these when it comes to, you want to have more saturated and monounsaturated and less polyunsaturated. Why is that? Polyunsaturated fats are actually unstable. They become oxidized very quickly, and which means that it will create more free radicals in the body, and then the body ages quickly. So we actually need to be very mindful of really limiting our polyunsaturated fat. You can have some, but very little. An example of this would be expeller pressed sesame oil. While good, you just have a little. Flaxseed oil. While good, just have a little. Peanut, walnut, almond, avocado oil, pumpkin seed oil. Again, just a little because they're unstable, okay? And they go rancid quickly. So you want to make sure you have more stable fats like the ones I've recommended above. Other fats would be things like buttermilk, cocoa butter, coconut flakes, coconut cream, coconut milk, the actual avocado, not the avocado oil, but the avocado, the actual olives, sour cream, nuts, and seeds. Before I get into the superfoods, I'm going to see if there's any questions to do with fats. I know this training is actually a little longer than normal, but hopefully you're enjoying this. Let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, if you're enjoying this and you're getting much out of it. But I'm going to see if there's any questions so far, all about fats. So are there any questions about fats? I've got a lot of questions so far, but just wondering if there's any questions about fats before I get into the superfoods, and then we'll finish it up. Okay, so no questions about fats. You guys are quiet. Please, again, ask your questions. There's never a bad question. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get into the fats. Well, I'm going to get actually into the superfoods. My apologies. So here we are in superfoods. All right. So this is, again, a one-page cheat sheet that I give to my clients to show them exactly, not the marketed superfoods, but the actual food superfoods. The foods that give the body the highest value of nutrition in such a small amount. All right. So you're getting a lot of nutrition from just a tiny amount. All right. So things like fermented foods, things like, which is good for the gut, things like seed vegetables, which is good for our metabolism and our thyroid, things like prebiotic foods, which actually feed the good bacteria, things like bone broth, which is really good to heal the gut and to re-mineralize the body if you have pain, especially sprouts, which is really good to add to, say, a vegetarian meal to increase the protein value. And healthy sweeteners. Okay, we want to get away from the artificial. We want to get into the natural sweeteners that are actually can be healthy for us. And the other one is a Celtic salt or Himalayan salt. We're going to want to think about this as well as a superfood. Again, this is a cheat sheet that I give to my clients that they just sprinkle into their foods, and this is why they get the results. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about supplements, okay? So let's talk supplements. So supplements are really supplementing a good diet. So these are on top of a healthy diet. So the first one when it comes to exercise and nutrition is you definitely want to make sure you have a good protein powder. Why is that? Well, it's convenient. You can put it in a smoothie. You can take it with you to go. You can't really do that with a chicken drumstick or a thigh or a burger or a piece of fish. It's kind of hard to transport that, isn't it? And it's kind of hard to always make those foods all the time, right? It's not really convenient. It takes a bit of time. Well, protein powder is like super fast, all right? And what it's going to do is it's going to help you reach your protein requirements. So 1 gram of protein per pound of body mass. So an easy way to actually get that protein in is by consuming protein powder, okay? And it's going to help do all those things in an easy way, all right? And it's because it's also easy to digest. So if you have digestive issues, why not have liquid nutrition in a smoothie with protein powder? Now, really, really think about the type of protein powder because there are so many crappy protein powders out there. The one that I recommend is by Pure Encapsulations, and it is called Ultra Pure. And it's actually a plant-based protein powder, and it's sweetened with stevia, and it tastes delicious. It's in vanilla or chocolate, and it actually does help to burn fat and build muscle the way that it's processed. You can also get whey protein powder, which is easy to digest as well by Pure Encapsulations. So anyone here is looking for a good protein powder, I would highly recommend getting a hold of me, and I'd be happy to share a link where you can get some really good ones that will work for you. The other one would be creatine. So there's so much research on the benefits of creatine monohydrate. So creatine is really, really important to enhance your energy systems. It's going to help you with your workouts. You'll have greater power output of your muscles, and it will lessen muscle breakdown. And it's actually really been shown to be helpful for brain cognition. So if you're somebody who likes to exercise, who likes to have more power when you exercise, feel the power so that you can build more muscle, and also improve your brain function, you want to think about creatine. And again, I can send you a link to the best creatine sources because you want to make sure that you're taking a good one that's processed properly. Lastly, it's the probiotic. So we're going to want to think about having the right type of probiotic when it comes to exercise nutrition. And the reason for that is because anytime you exercise, remember, it is a hormetic stress. It can lower the immune system, and you wonder why you're getting sick. It's because the immune system needs more help to be able to work through these exercises. And so you want to make sure that you're fortifying the body with the right probiotic. Now, make sure that the probiotic that you're actually consuming is from a human strain, not an animal strain. Animal strains are not compatible to our bodies. They are a waste of time. In fact, they can grow the wrong strains in the body. So you're putting a foreign bacteria into your body. Really think about that. You want to make sure you're putting the right ones in to do the right job. Probiotics are designed to reach specific goals. So if you're somebody who wants to improve your brain function, there are probiotics actually to improve brain function. There's actually one to help you burn fat. There's one that actually helps when you're exercising called HMF Fitness. So there are specific ones for specific things, which again is why it's important to see a nutritionist who can specify and really customize your supplement plan so that you're not wasting your time, but you're actually doing what really matters and to getting your results, okay? Now we're going to get into some best daily routines. We're going to end in this. Before I do, I'm going to see if there's any questions so far. Anything about we talked about superfoods and we talked about supplements. So here I've got a comment, I'm taking all in and learning a lot. Good, I know. So the kind of trainings that I do throw a lot at you. But the reason for that is because your time is valuable. And I know I don't want to sugarcoat stuff and just kind of fluff over things. I want to give you material that you can think about, have you think differently, but start to get actual results right away. And those that want to dive deeper into customizing a plan for them, get a hold of me, and I'm happy to do that for you as well. I'm glad you're taking notes. That's good. Really good. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and we're going to get into daily routine. Okay, so we talked about diet, we talked about supplements. Now we're going to get into daily routine. Why is daily routine important? Well, your body it runs on a circadian rhythm. And so when you are when you're listening to your body and you're working with your body instead of against it, then you'll have energy during the day and you'll be able to sleep like a baby. Okay. But you need to be able to schedule your day to be able to tell the body to increase the energy during the day and help you sleep at night. You have to give the body certain inputs to do that. That's called a daily routine. And so this is working with your body instead of against it. So for my clients, I give them a daily routine. Okay. And it's a step-by-step morning routine during the day and then night routine. When you follow this 3-step system, then you are guaranteed to get more energy during the day, burn fat, build muscle, and have the best sleep on the planet. Okay. But you've got to do the right things at the right time. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, your morning routine is going to set the stage for the rest of the day. So you want to make sure you have a really good, powerful morning routine so that you can have energy during the day and you can sleep at night. First thing I want you to do for your morning routine, among other things, is you want to make sure you have 1 liter of water before your first meal of the day. Because remember, when you wake up, you're dehydrated. You have breathed out. Actually, you breathed out fat molecules and you are dehydrated. And the body needs more hydration. Because remember, you breathed out water molecules, so you're dehydrated. So you need to refill that water back in so you can have a good bowel movement, so that you can have more energy, so that you can clear the liver, all these things. And so you want to have 1 liter of filtered water before your first meal of the day. Then you can for sure enjoy your organic cup of coffee, make sure it's black, or your green tea, and get outside before 10 a.m. each morning. If you get outside before 10 a.m. each morning, you will be guaranteed to have a better sleep than if you don't. Okay. There's other things that you can do to have a better sleep. That is one of the most important things you can do, is get morning sunlight before 10 a.m. each morning to have a good sleep. During the day, you want to think about feeding well and fasting well. What I mean by that is, eat the right nutrition plan during the day, but then you want to stop eating at a certain time to then be able to have a good sleep at night. So you want to feed well and fast well. So you want to end your fast, end your feeding window at least 2 hours before bed. And so that could be, you'll be fasting for 14 hours, feeding for 10, or fasting for 16 hours, eating for 8. So you'd have to kind of figure out your own eating window, but you don't want to be snacking at night or snacking too early in the morning. You want to have a fasting window. Okay. I did a talk on this last week, all about fasting. You can look at the replay. It's under the guide section in the bonus section, fasting, how to fast properly. But I did go over this in great detail last week. Then you want to get outside during the day as much as you can as well, because it reminds the body what time of day it is. Remember, we need to get our bodies back into circadian rhythm. And if you're inside all day, you're under artificial light, you're going to feel artificial. If you're outside under natural sunlight, you're going to feel natural. It's really that easy. And then your step 3 would be winding down for a good evening routine. So that means getting a good sleep. So 1 hour before sundown, make sure you start to get your surroundings as dark as possible. And if you are going to be on the computer, you've got to get these blue light blocking glasses. I use them all the time if I need to be on the computer, which I tend to be at times in the evening. Just make sure that you are avoiding any blue light, any screens, any phones an hour before bedtime. Okay. And that way you will ensure a good sleep. Well, we are at the end of this training. I went 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was a long one, I know. But I'm hoping that you got a lot out of it. Before I recommend, how to get a hold of me, I'm going to see if there's any questions before I share with you how to get a hold of me if you're looking for something more customized, or if you have any questions. So we have a question here. Do you like pea protein? I do, from a good quality source. So there are different pea proteins out there. It has to be properly distilled against lead, mercury, all these extra excipients that poor quality pea proteins have. We don't want to put that into our bodies as a powder every single day. right? So we want to make sure the pea protein we have is properly processed to remove all the extra things we don't want, like heavy metals would be one example. Because I know of some pea proteins out there that do have heavy metals. We don't want heavy metals, it shuts our body down, all right? And those that actually have a thyroid issue likely have heavy metals, right? Those that have a lot of weight issues likely have heavy metals. Those that have mental issues likely have heavy metals. So it's insidious, and it'll be in things like pea protein unless it's a good high quality protein. So the one that I recommend is the one that's tested before it's left the facility. It is a professional grade. This is not multi-level marketing. This is actually a professional grade, okay? I can actually put the link into after the training to the supplements that I recommend that are professional, that we know that are pure, okay? So that's a really good question. But a good quality pea protein, absolutely. That's what I actually enjoy myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my last slide, which is if you want to dive deeper into like an actual customized plan, then I'm going to share with you how to get a hold of me, and we can keep the conversation going, and I can shortcut your way to your health goal and have fun doing it. So for me, I do actually offer one-on-one 90-day programs, and it's all based on your health goal. So if you're coming to me, what I'd like to know is, what is your number one health goal that you would like to solve in the next 90 days? And what I will do from there is, if we are a fit together, if we're a fit, okay? Because I don't, we want to make sure that we're going to be compatible working together. And because we want to have this a fun experience, right? And the kind of diets that I provide are not dogmatic. They could be vegan, they could be vegetarian, they could be carnivore. It's whatever foods you like. Okay, it's not the foods I like, it's the foods you like. But what I'll do is I'll actually personalize and customize an eating plan of foods you like that will get to your health goal within 90 days. We will also make sure that you are clearing away these toxins that are stopping your liver from being healthy, stopping your kidneys from being healthy, and your gut, okay? So we're going to make sure that we're clearing away the toxins so that you feel clean and lean. And then you will get a customized daily routine, so it's like a no-brainer. You know what to do and when, so that you will get the results quicker, faster than you can ever imagine. And really, the program that I provide there are 9 steps. It's only 9 steps. It's 9 steps that you need to take that are systematic, one step at a time, that will get you results. But it's really empowering, because each step that you take, you see a difference, and then you move to the next step. So it's not overwhelming, which is the great part about this program as well. Very complete, no missing pieces. You get everything all in one 90-day program and your results, which is the most important piece. So if anyone here is interested in learning more about this program, then please direct message me. And we can start the conversation, and then I can learn more about where you are and where you want to go. Any more questions before we stop today's training? Okay, it's a big training, I know. So the replay will be up in the guides section as a bonus, and I will put the links below. After I actually hit the gym, I want to hit the gym, take a little bit of a break. That's part of my daily routine, is getting my exercise in. Thank you so much for joining in for today. And make sure you join in next week as well. Well, I'll be doing deeper dives into the 9-step plan that I have to get you cleaner, leaner, looking and feeling 10 years younger. So again, thank you so much for being part of this. And if you know anyone else who is interested in getting fit and healthy, please send in the link, and I can see if they're going to be a fit for the community. And if they are, we can let them in as well, and they can be part of these trainings as well. So thank you, and I want you to have a great rest of the day.